Okay guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we are testing out the new chainsaw under barrel added into Modern Warfare 3 in zombies. So as you can see, a little left on the D-pad is going to activate it, and then we can hold it down and just spray with a chainsaw. So let's find out what it's going to do against this sort of zombie. Let's see if it's going to get any better once we start upgrading it. If we pack a punch it, is it going to do more damage? I really don't know what to expect with this chainsaw, if I'm totally honest. So we can melt through one zombie, melt through two zombies. Okay, so far it doesn't seem too bad. There's no sort of range on it though, which is one thing I did just notice. Of course, I've paired up with the Ram 7, which is obviously a very good assault rifle in this game. The reason for this is I just simply didn't know how good this gun was going to be, so I thought I'd test it with a gun that I know is actually capable of playing within this game. So let's try and group all of these together and see if we can just sort of hold down the trigger and just take them out one at a time, so we can just melt through them with no problem. Does the chainsaw overheat? It doesn't seem to look like it's going to overheat. It looks like you can just sort of hold it for as long as you want to hold it. And so far, it doesn't actually seem too bad. The zombies don't seem too bad to get near me. They don't seem to have touched me yet. So far, I'm impressed with how this chainsaw is playing. Let's just sort of see if it's going to be able to get any better when we upgrade it or anything like that. So as you can see, it takes maybe like 1 to 2 hit markers that we get on each zombie to take them out of the game. So if I go ahead and chuck a pack-a-punch on it, is that going to make a difference to the gun or not? Let's have a look if this seems to take it out any faster or if it's going to stay just as it was. So it doesn't look like it's actually going to get any faster, which is kind of interesting. So now we need to work out if it's going to be viable in tier 2 and tier 3 zones. So I'm going to go straight into that tier 3 and see what sort of damage it's going to do there. So my kind of hope is in the tier 2 zone, it's going to kill just as fast as it does in the tier 1 zone and then do exactly the same in tier 3. Otherwise, this chainsaw just really isn't going to be viable in any areas, if I'm totally honest. Okay, so we've got our first tier 2 zombies. Let's pull out the chainsaw, start holding it against them. I mean, yeah, armored zombies, it just really isn't doing anything, is it? It's really not doing actually anything to these zombies in the tier 2 zone. It really is doing no damage whatsoever to these zombies in the tier 2 zone. Maybe we need to try and tier 2 pack-a-punch it, see if that's going to make any sort of difference. But like I said, at tier 1 pack-a-punch, it didn't seem to do anything in the tier 1 zone, but maybe it was just already at its fastest capacity in the tier 1, so pack-a-punching it didn't make a difference. So what I'm going to do is get some cash together, try and tier 2 pack-a-punch this, and see if it actually makes a difference or not. So I just want to double check that this is going to do like no damage to the zombies. Yeah, it's really not going to take these zombies out fast enough in the tier 2 zone. So hopefully, if we tier 2 pack-a-punch it, it actually makes a difference. But if it doesn't, then the chainsaw is just an overall L in zombies. It's just not going to be viable in any sort of situation unless you're just running around the tier 1 zone. But as we know, basically every single gun is viable in the tier 1 zone. There's no guns that are bad in the tier 1. You can literally use anything you want. So let's just put our hands together and let's just pray that this gun is actually going to do some extra damage at tier 2 pack-a-punch and we can actually keep using the chainsaw and even then tier 3 it, take it into the tier 3 zone and try and take down some tier 3 zombies with it. Okay, so I've actually increased the rarity up to a rare rarity. Does it now seem... the rare rarity seemed to make a little bit of a difference. I don't know, actually. It did seem to make a bit of a difference. I upgraded it to rare rarity. I've still got a legendary Aether tool that we can go ahead and put on at some point. But it looked like the actual upgrading the rarity of the gun seemed to make a little bit of a difference. Not by a crazy amounts, but it looked like it did make somewhat of a difference. So the plan's still going to be to pack-a-punch this to tier 2, and then we can really get a feel for if pack-a-punching is going to make a difference within this game. And if not, it might just be a case of actually upgrading the rarity, which is going to make a difference to the chainsaw. So I might be a bit stupid for this, but I kind of want to see what sort of damage the chainsaw will do to a HVT, and it doesn't even look like it's touched its health basically at all. I don't like the fact there's tier 3 zombies on me when I've got a tier 1 pack-a-punch gun, if I'm totally honest. I don't really like this. I'm not a big fan of this. Okay, so finally we're at a point where we can tier 2 pack-a-punch. I was trying to do a contract. I got cornered, went down, ended up losing all my perks and stuff like that, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. We've got the money now. We can tier 2 pack-a-punch this bad boy, see what it's actually going to be like, and if it's going to increase the damage that the chainsaw does on this gun. So there we go, tier 2 pack-a-punch. Chainsaw is now ready to go. Let's see if it is going to take down these zombies. Okay, so it looks like it might actually take the zombies down a little bit faster, which is a big W. I think, anyway. I think it looks like it's taking them down a little bit faster. It's not like the craziest of speeds. It's not as fast as it was in the tier 1 zone, but, you know, that was the tier 1 zone. So we can keep going, just keep grinding through all of these, see if we can do any more damage to any of them at any point. And what I wouldn't mind doing as well is now upgrading it to the legendary Aether tool. So we can go ahead and chuck that on and see if that's also going to make a nice difference to this gun or not. Because if you was to use any gun in tier 2 at legendary Aether and tier 2 Pack-a-Punch, it's going to literally melt through the zombies with no problem. And I could show you that by literally shooting a zombie in the tier 2 zone. So as you can see, it does melt through them quite quickly. It's not too bad. The legendary Aether tool's definitely made a bit of a difference. 100% it's made a bit of a difference. So it looks like it now is going to start melting through the zombies with not too many issues. And to me, that's a positive, because I thought it was going to be a case of if you upgrade this chainsaw, you're not going to do any more damage to the zombies. It's not going to make any difference to what you're doing. But it does seem like you actually are going to do a little bit more damage every time you upgrade this gun, which means we might be able to take it into the tier 3 zone and see what it's going to be like at tier 3, hopefully. Okay, so I've jumped into the tier 3 zone to actually see what sort of damage we can do, and just see if it's actually going to do any sort of damage to the tier 3 zombies, which it doesn't look like it's going to. It looks like we might need to take up the rarity of the gun before we start trying to actually use this in the tier 3 zone. It's not great. It's really not great. We definitely need to upgrade the rarity of this to even test it in the tier 3 zone, because the tier 2 Pack-a-Punch legendary Aether tool, it just isn't strong enough at all. Okay guys, so we've finally got enough cash to go in tier 3 Pack-a-Punch, the chainsaw, legendary Aether tool. Let's go ahead, chuck it on, and let's see if we can now actually use this in the tier 3 zone or not. That's basically the main question of why we are even in the tier 3, and it doesn't really look like it's going to be doing crazy damage to any of the zombies. Yeah, I mean, by no means does this seem like it's going to be doing crazy damage to any zombies anytime soon, which is unfortunate. I was kind of hoping in the tier 3 it might be a little bit usable. Not anything crazy, but I was kind of hoping it'll be usable, but it doesn't really seem like it is going to be that usable, if I'm totally honest. Let's just go ahead and find some more zombies. Let's see how quickly we can get through them. It doesn't, yeah. I mean, let's say you've got a whole horde of zombies around you. This gun is just not going to be viable, is it? It's not going to be the option that you're trying to use. It's fun to use, don't get me wrong. It is kind of fun to use, but by no means is it actually any good or any powerful. The thing that I will say, though, is even when there's a few around me, the zombies don't seem to be hitting me that much. Like, it's very rare that the zombies actually get a solid hit on me, which is kind of impressive. But this just isn't something that's actually going to be useful to you guys in the tier 3 zone. Like, it's really not going to be a great strategy to use. When we had things like the underbarrel for the flamethrower and stuff, they were actually pretty decent. They weren't amazing because they ran out of ammo very quickly. And of course, the chainsaw can't run out of ammo and it doesn't overheat or anything like that. But the chainsaw just doesn't do that much damage, which is kind of annoying, really. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a little bit better than what it is, but I kind of get why it's not, because if you could just melt through zombies with that, it could make tier 3 very easy, but unfortunately, it's just not as strong or as powerful as I'd have liked to have seen the chainsaw. And to be honest, the only time that the chainsaws actually felt viable in any of the zones was just in the tier 1 zone, which is basically where every single gun is viable. But I will say, though, I do still enjoy the fact that they are adding cool aftermarket parts like this into the game. Like, I think it's a cool addition to have a chainsaw, have an underbarrel, which is a flamethrower, and things like that. I think it's a very cool thing they're adding to the game. I hope we carry on seeing more. I just hope they maybe make them a little bit more powerful in zombies. I get why they're not super powerful, because in multiplayer, they can be really annoying. In Warzone, they can be really annoying. But why not just boost it a little bit in zombies, where it's actually about to take down a lot of the zombies that are in the game with no problems, really. Because, you know, it's kind of a little bit disappointing that using these aftermarket parts and stuff in zombies doesn't really do much damage to the zombies. It's not great when you get up to those higher tiers. Like in a situation like this where I have to use my gun, I just know the chainsaw's not going to be good enough to do it, which is why I end up pulling out the gun rather than the chainsaw. So yeah, to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with how good the chainsaw is. I was kind of hoping it'd be a little bit better. But again, I hope they keep adding more things like this into the game where we can go ahead, pack-a-punch them, try them out, see if they're actually any good or not. Because it is a fun thing to have in the game, don't get me wrong. But I'd be very interested to see what you guys have got to say about this in the comments below. What do you think on the chainsaw? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's worth adding into the game? Or is it literally a pointless addition? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have enjoyed today's video, be sure to go ahead and smash a thumbs up, as it helps me out way more than you can imagine. And also, if you have enjoyed today's video, then go ahead and check the rest of the channel. I've got a whole bunch of zombies content uploaded that you guys just might go ahead and enjoy. But I think for today, this is where I'm going to leave the video. I do appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. I hope you've enjoyed it. It was a fun one for me to go ahead and try out, use a new gun or a new aftermarket part within the game. It's just unfortunate it wasn't any crazy weapon. Yeah, thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. I do appreciate every single one of you that has stayed till the end of the video and you have enjoyed it. Like I said, go and check out some more videos on the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy it and turn on notifications so you don't miss any time that I do post a video. But I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and I will catch you guys all in the next one in a bit. Peace.